Destination Medicine is a collaborative initiative of regional training hubs. With first-hand lessons learned from those who have gone before, this podcast is designed to assist and inspire anyone interested in pursuing a medical career in rural and regional Australia. Welcome to Destination Medicine. I'm Peter Letts. Any move from South Asia to regional Australia must surely be an interesting one. But for Dr Nadee Assiriyage, with her smarts and her big personality, it's been an inspiring journey as well. Dr Assiriyage, who as a little girl was known to often save the lives of her toy dolls through surgery, is a committed local GP in Whyalla, where her life is filled with unexpected twists, humour and the love and warmth of a supportive and tight-knit community. She starts by describing her childhood in Sri Lanka to Nicole Goodman.
I've always wanted to be a doctor. There's been a running joke in my family that when I was a kid, I walked around with a doctor's kit with my own tools. I operated on my dolls. It was probably a little bit sadistic, but, it was what I did. So it was very much a ongoing sort of thing. And I went to an international school growing up in Sri Lanka, which is why I don't have an accent that is Sri Lankan. Our year 12 exams are the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. So unfortunately, not recognized in Sri Lanka. So I had to go somewhere out of the country, and that was inevitable. I was actually planning on going to the UK.
Right.
But you could call it fate, you could call it whatever it was. My mother was very good at finding universities. So in the sense, they would come down to Sri Lanka to visit, and they would have sessions for international students. And I lost count as to how many of these sessions I would go to and introduced myself. And I was one of those type A personalities. I had a resume and the whole kit and caboodle. So Adelaide was not on my radar, I'll be honest. I honestly had no idea where Adelaide was. My mother found this on a newspaper ad and insisted that I go. I didn't want to go.
Right.
I was tired. I was sick of it. I had enough.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know how I got into Adelaide, because if anyone had seen what I was wearing on the day, they probably would have run a mile. I was wearing a crop top with emojis on it and butter yellow pants with a bow on it, because my plan was to be as obnoxious as possible, because then my mum would just go, no. She didn't. So went to this hotel, started chatting to I think it was the Associate Dean of Medicine at the time, and having this conversation. And he goes, oh, well, we might interview you. I'm like, for what? And next thing I know, I have the Dean of Medicine, the Associate Dean of Medicine, and the Dean of Dentistry interviewing me for a position in med school.
Wow, that is an incredible story.
I can't even, I was in disbelief. So they gave me the thing and they said, look, we do have to make this a conditional offer, but the fact that you just have to pass your IB and you have to get a minimum of what I think was 32 out of the 40 marks. And I was like, yep, okay. Mum said, how did it go? I said, I actually don't know, because I was still in disbelief. I didn't understand what had happened. And then the letter came and my mother, she's like, you got into university. I said, I did. She said, why didn't you tell me? I said, because I didn't think it was true.
Yeah. That is unbelievable. So you arrive in Adelaide then, finally.
Yep.
And how did you settle in?
I'd never travelled before on my own. I had no idea. And my parents couldn't come with me. So they put me on a plane and said, yeah, good luck. I was lucky. So my grandmother actually came with me. So she was in Sydney and she pretty much put me at Lincoln College and left. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know how to make a bank account. I had, I think, $300 cash in my pocket.
Wow.
So I was absolutely terrified. I stayed in my room. I got into my room and that was it. Before my grandmother had gone, she'd taken me to the supermarket and I bought this big, massive, giant bag of peanuts. And that's what I ate for a week because I was too scared to leave the room. And what happened essentially was there was a girl that lived across the hallway from me. She knocked on my door and said, I'm having trouble with my computer. Are you having trouble with yours? I didn't have a computer. So I was like, no, I don't have a computer, so I can't help. And I don't know if I've got trouble. I'll come help you because I can do that. That I can do. So I went over and basically tried to get her network set up and it wasn't working. So I said to her, you're going to have to call the IT person. And she was like, I can't do that. I'm too scared. And I was like, well, I can do that. That's easy. So I rang him up, proceeded to yell at him because he wasn't listening to me. Because, that's the thing you do when you're terrified of the world. And then he essentially came up to find out who was this first year who had the audacity to scream at a senior.
Yeah.
And that's how I made my first couple of friends.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
And this is something that I've always done. If it's for me, I can't do it. If it's for anyone else, I can go in front of anyone. I can fight for you. I can do anything. But if it's for me, can't do it. And so I got a bit of a reputation with my friends that I was this brave, strong person. And then they soon realized, no, I'm actually just a wuss. I just need to have a purpose and I can do it.
But it was really during your physician training that you were given some useful feedback that really changed things for you on both a personal and professional level, wasn't it?
Absolutely. So I had some difficulties during university because I was incredibly quiet. I struggled with being asked questions and I was just very, very shy, nervous and terrified a lot of the time. And when I first started there, I started on colorectal as the intern and the registrar actually took me aside and said to me, Nadee, I know you're doing the work. I can see it. Like she said, some of the others won't see it because you're too quiet. You say nothing. So people are going to naturally assume that you're not doing it or you don't know what you're doing. And she said, you need to start speaking up. You need to start saying something. You need to actually vocalize so we actually know that you're there. Let's suffice to say that she regrets that conversation now.
Created a monster.
I think so, because I just started talking. Whatever came into my head came out. And as you can tell right now, I can talk till the cows come home.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. So you were completing your physician training then, but now you are a general practitioner. How did that transition happen?
I started off med school wanting to be a surgeon. I was gung-ho that I was going to do surgery, which is why I ended up in colorectal. I then went through this process where I actually like talking to people. And I spent most of my time actually on the ward. So then I decided that I'd be a psychiatrist because, you talk to people, right? Then I don't like talking to them that much. So then I went into physician training and that was really where I was heading and that's where I wanted to go. But life gets in the way sometimes. And I was married by this point. I had 2 stepchildren and it was quite complicated. Also, in addition, my father was very, very ill in Sri Lanka and my family was struggling at the time. And to do physician training, you need to sacrifice a lot to actually be able to focus. And I was failing in all counts because I couldn't do my job properly. I couldn't do my life properly. And I went, okay, this is not healthy for me. This is not healthy for my patients. I need to do something else. So I went, okay. I basically was applying for rehab and I applied for GP. And I thought to myself, well, GP's 3 years and I get out quicker. And then if I change my mind, I can go back and do stuff again. If you ask my best friend, I never wanted to be a GP. Furthest thing from the planet that I ever wanted to do.
Are you happy now?
Absolutely. So one of the things I struggled with as a med student, it was very dependent on the GP as the supervisor, what sort of experiences you had. And my experiences up to that point had been very, very dull and boring. I loved the ownership that I got with my patients, being able to advocate for my patients. Obviously, because I was an international student, I still had that moratorium left on me. So I have to go rural. That was a non-negotiable part of the way it works. So I started off in Mount Barker, loved it up there. And then they sent me out to Whyalla and I was their first registrar. And my supervisor was amazing. So she was like, you can do what you want. I will help you if you need help. But if you want to do skin cancer stuff, cool, you can do that. We do emergency. Actually, I've already rostered you on for emergency shifts, just so you know. And I was like, okay. And so being in Whyalla and being a rural GP meant that I have the versatility and the diversity in what I want to do. So I have inpatients. I do ED shifts. I cut things out. I have these complex patients because remember, I have a physician training background. So my patients are a lot more complicated. I feel like I'm doing what I always wanted to do. I just didn't realize this is where I wanted to go. And again, the benefits of doing rural is that you get to be part of a network and a team, and the town adopts you in a weird way. And it's a lot harder to make friends when you get older and when you're very busy. But I moved to Whyalla and I found home.
That's beautiful. I love that. But Whyalla in particular, Whyalla in South Australia in particular, how did you end up there?
So I came here for 6 months. My contract was for 6 months. And 7 years later, I'm still here. The reason I stayed, I'll be honest, the people. It is the people that make or break a job or a place that you're at.
And you feel valued and feel like you're doing a valuable service.
Absolutely. And I mean, they take care of me. They look after me. I am not just this person that's rocked up and I'm their doctor. I am part of that important network for them.
And I think sometimes that's what's missing in the GP space is that the work, particularly in metro areas, is that it's so busy and you churn through patients, you become a number.
Yes.
And so it's difficult to find a GP where you actually are a person.
Yes.
And they remember your history.
Yes.
And they remember your issues and your family and your concerns. So it sounds like you're doing that in spades.
And they appreciate your quirks, your crazy things. And, you know, I mean, I've got a patient who basically, it's quite funny. She comes in and she's like, she wears different earrings for me because I get so excited by the fact that she's got milk bottles as earrings today.
I love that. That is gorgeous.
You know, she doesn't have to do that, but she knows it brings me joy and it makes me happy. And we sit there and we giggle over it. And that's great.
That community connection is so important.
Yeah.
I also hear, speaking of quirky things, you're part of a special club called the Mojito Girls. That sounds like an interesting group to be involved in.
So the Whyalla Hospital, where most of these nurses work, either in capacity of as an ED, after hours coordinator, or in the hospital in some capacity. And they're a very strong bunch of women. Like, I'm talking strong, you know, just beautiful, very vocal women. But they were like, all right, so we've got this thing. We meet up every so often and we drink mojitos. And they're like, you're coming. Oh, okay. I'm sure. And it was strange because I hadn't socialized like that. We share food, we talk, we do things. But the best thing about them is they look after each other.
Yeah.
So one of the nurses, she pretty much said, you are useless at looking after a garden. You don't have the time for it. So I come home and I'm like, oh, my lawn's been mowed again. You don't water your lawn enough, so I've just set up a sprinkler system for you. I'm like, right, okay. How much do I owe you?
That is so wonderful.
I am not used to asking for help for myself. These guys don't wait to be asked. They just do it.
Yeah. Now, you're an extremely busy GP in Whyalla.
Yes.
And just to add to the mix, you also hold the role of Director of Clinical Training, don't you?
I do, yeah. So that's been about 12 months. I manage interns and RMOs in the region. It's a role that obviously is quite new because it used to be run by the university originally, University of Adelaide, and it's now sort of transitioned to the actual health network. And it's a role that is ever evolving. If you asked me when I graduated back in 2007 that I would be Director of Clinical Training in any capacity whatsoever, I'd be like, there is no way that was going to happen. But when you come to a place where you're setting up in a rural area, the possibilities are endless. You get to contribute in a way that makes you feel much more like you're part of something. And all of us want purpose. So if you go rural, you can progress things. You can do things. Of course, I'm not saying that everything is roses and perfect, but you have the opportunity to become the Director of Clinical Training.
Well, to extend this line of thinking a bit further, in this role, you work closely with junior medical officers. Do you have any key pieces of advice for them?
Take the opportunity to talk to everyone you come across. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got something that they can tell you or share with you that will be very, very important. Whether they're CSA staff, whether they're doctors, whether they're senior consultants, but mostly your patients. Your patients tell you so much and you learn so much from them. Always stand by your ideals. Do not compromise who you are and be open to whatever is out there, because if you're open, things will come to you. They always do. And I guess the last thing, a JMO, I don't care where they go as long as they go rural. I would love if they were to work with me and stay in my region. But wherever they go, and as long as they're making an impact in a rural community, because let's be honest, not many choose that pathway. You don't realize what a place is like until you go there and live there. So give it a chance, and you'll be surprised what becomes home there and live there as a rural generalist, a specialist that helps rural communities. That is a win. And that's all we want to do. But this is home now, and this will be home.
So I think I might know the answer to this question, but is it regional and rural medicine for you for the long term then?
Absolutely. I can't do anything different. I mean, look, I'll be honest. It's just the versatility of what I get to do. It's the patients that I get to see. I mean, who else gets these massively complex patients on biologics and, getting transplants and all that sort of stuff? Because that goes to specialties. You don't get to see that. Like, I liaise with specialists directly because that's how it works. My kids with cardiac disease, I directly talk to the cardiologists. I don't go through the registrars. I don't go through anything because they're that complicated. That's not something I would have ever thought I would have been doing. If you go back to 23 years ago, if you told me then that I would be living in Whyalla, I'd be like, where the hell is that? And why would I do that? But this is home now, and this will be home.
Dr Nadee Assiriyage, a GP practicing in the regional South Australian city of Whyalla. This is Destination Medicine. Thanks for listening. Regional training hubs are supported by funding from the Australian Government under the Rural Health Multidisciplinary Training Program.